Welcome to a fine gaming experience, everyone. Bricks here with my usual co-host.
Hey there, it's Dung Beetle McGee. That's just ice. Sorry.
Are you rolling?
I'm rolling. I'm excited for today. Big things happening.
Indeed, we're gonna take down Zorah once and for all. But I was quite fortunate there. We had trouble getting that special greatsword last time, but we have a special event that let me get more of them.
When those special events happen, they're usually seasonal events. They pop up almost every single quest during that, so luckily you're able to finish the quest you didn't have enough time to do. Because we can't play Monster Hunter all day, every day.
Well, we could.
Yeah, we could, but I mean, life, responsibilities, food costs money, things like that. Such epic music.
She's telling her life story. We need epic music.
Hey, partner.
This weapon should make quite an example out of what we're about to do here.
I do too good with this weapon here, surprisingly. But we'll see that soon enough.
There are weapons in every category that fit the jobs really well, but if you know a few different weapons, sometimes switching from one weapon type to another, it's like the hunt has completely changed into something new. I have had things where I was playing with a bow and I just absolutely didn't take a single point of damage. In fact, there's an enemy later on that likes to fly, drop little bomb turds on us that the bow makes almost a trivialized encounter. In fact, any ranged weapon does.
A lot of flying creatures in general you'd love to have a projectile weapon for.
Just throw your Kinsect at them. Everybody likes having powder shot in their eyes.
And everyone also loves little parties.
I just love the Palico with the sun hat in a Hawaiian shirt chiseling an ice sculpture.
A giant ice dragon head. It's pretty awesome. The Summer Twilight Fest.
Hey, partner.
I almost feel like this is new. I may be wrong on this one. Feel free to correct me in the comments if that's the case, but I feel like the Summer Twilight event is something that's fairly new to Iceborne.
I think it is one of the newer events that they added in, because the special armor we get from this one is quite different. Speaking of special armor, all the hosts here get little luau outfits.
A colossal task. And of course you're going to voucher. Do it! You did it.
I want the big bucks.
Hey, it gets expensive to upgrade multiple weapons. I'm sure your money is hurting just a little bit at this point.
I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm not doing too much farming in the side here, but I'm floating well.
All right. Let's go over the operation. The subterranean channel Zorah Magdaros is using continue deep underground. We'll have one shot to divert it here when it surfaces. If we let it slip by, it's out of our reach forever.
Not to mention,
That's why
it's going to blow up and
I'm
kill
bringing
you
out
all,
the
so...
big guns.
Oh yeah.
The ultimate secret weapon. A giant drill spear.
This is the Dragonator. We'll use it to drive Zorah back and divert it out.
Don't
into
take
the
that
open
home to
sea.
mama.
When I saw this the first time, I'm thinking of some cool, like, super cannon, but it's like, no, it's a giant harpoon.
And try to keep it in check. Be relentless.
Still wish they were little, cybernetic organisms that were Dragonators.
One more thing.
Learning computers.
Nergigante is bound to
I'm a
show up and
cybernetic
try to make a
organism.
mess
I
of
see
this.
everything.
If it gets in our way, it's up to you to stop it.
I love how out of place you look. The handler's adorable, though.
I'm so
We
sparkly.
can do this. Scout ahead. Signal us if you spot any trouble.
Little funny story about voice actors. Matt Mercer of Dungeons and Dragons Critical Role fame voices several characters in this. I believe he voiced the guy who just flew down and the guy who just grunted and went off to do hunting, so... He's famous for that, voice acting several different roles of characters literally in conversations with each other.
We need to weaken Zorah Magdaros enough to capture it. Once you're on its back, give all you got. Destroy the cores to weaken it. Or try dropping some of those stalactites on it.
So a couple things about this quest. It's exactly the same as the original one. We're going to run around shattering cores.
Use your slinger to blast them loose.
But as field team leader is saying, we are actually going to be able to blow up those barrels that are sitting up on top of those stalactites, break them, and shatter extra parts of Zorah. Because we can't just whack on his shell. He's far too tough for us to do any damage to.
This one is kind of interesting that it's almost an inverse of the first one, because we will go to the cannons and all that other stuff after this. Meanwhile, last time we started with that.
Comes down to how much we manage to weaken the target.
And the reason that Brix here is using the mantle is so just sit on top of the core and just do damage without worrying about taking an explosion.
Look at that. Perfect timing.
That's why shoulder tackles are great.
It still lit me on fire, but I didn't take the huge blast knockback damage or any of that stuff.
And because of the way the Vitality Mantle works, that fire barely matters.
Did wear off my mantle just because I didn't roll out of it, but... Already.
Good work. Look for the next magma core.
Something's happening to its shell. The flow of magma is changing.
The Greatsword damage is just wild.
Oh, it is insane. Now, one thing with Zorah in this mission is that his hit points are static across the whole thing. So if you are able to find ways to do lots of damage in this stage, it will save you a lot of headaches later on.
And there's actually something you were telling me the other day, a way to deal with Zorah Magdaros that I did not know. And blast damage. So weapons that do blast damage are things like the gun lance, the heavy bow gun. There's several others, but those blast damage hits ignore defense. So apparently you can keep attacking the core, is that correct?
Indeed. The blast damage will still do its full numbers, even though your physical hits will only be doing 2 damage or so.
Oh, I was like, whoa, you were in a bad position there.
Some of my shoulder tackles are perfect, some are not. Suffice to say, though, I take down these cores really quick. Like that. That was good shoulder tackle.
It was an excellent shoulder tackle. You time it with the hit, so anybody who's a longsword user and wants to move over to greatsword, think of it about like your counter, your spirit slash counters. Time it when the enemy's just about to strike.
Shell is doing that thing again. Watch the magma. It's changing.
And I have been on Zor's back and hit that counter quite a few times, and it does help you just keep persistent damage. Then again, as a lance user, I just block everything. Now, about this fight, something that you're going to notice very often is Zorah keeps changing position. This happened in the first fight as well. The change of position changes the layout of the map. And there are some nodes that you can get to a lot easier if you position yourself right. But... nice.
There we go. Now, each of those stalactites we break will do 500 damage to Zorah. And there's still these zit things we can pop.
Zit things. Magma pimples.
Yep.
What's with the tremors?
But you can do a lot of damage to Zorah in this stage between just dropping all the things on him, damaging his cores.
Charge its energy.
If you hit all his weak points, it's quite a few vulnerable areas.
Oh, yeah. The little shout there, he's about to let off his explosion. That is what happens when he explodes.
Watch this out.
I was so close to the top, I thought I could make it.
Excellent. Now it's time to
But yes, every time Zorah charges up his energy, he'll release it in a huge burst that tends to do a bit of damage and sends you flying.
Unfortunately, when you're climbing or trying to traverse his very large body, bad things can happen.
If you look at the map too for these stalactites, you'll see little exclamation marks for them. So you gotta make sure you're actually triggering them over Zorah instead of like in front of him. The range on them is a little peculiar though.
Yeah. A lot of the times when you're going to hit with these, it's very hard to tell you're even hitting at all. But basically, if it looks like it's on top of him, you're probably good. I'm going to say I'm very disappointed you didn't do the flying charge slash, but that's okay.
Me too.
I'll survive. Love that spark up of the energy.
We were talking about it before. This blade gets special engine boost there when it's at full blast. You'll see it just charging up the power and smashing the blade into them.
Mechanically, it doesn't actually do anything different, but if you're a newer player, I highly recommend getting this sword just for its power, but also it gives you a very easy visual cue outside of the flash.
Very much so. I find, though, getting used to the flash timing starts becoming second nature to you.
That is true.
Use whatever you can.
So I managed to destroy all 3 cores before Nergigante even showed up. That's how fast and powerful I was able to deal damage with the greatsword.
And that's what's stopping to drop some stalags and also deal with one of those lava pimples.
And here's an interesting thing too. Nergigante has shown up. But if you look past Nergigante towards where Zorah's head would be, there is a new core appearing over there.
This is something I've only recently learned about myself.
One thing I should point out too, if you are extremely lucky, you can drop a stalactite on Nergigante.
Oh, wow.
Zorah Magdaros is changing position. It's trying to get up.
Brace for the shock. Don't let it shake you.
I was originally going to fight Nergigante, but then he changed positions, and only when Zorah is standing up on his hind legs and Nergigante is here,
Hunters, keep at it. It's all up to you.
you can go onto the head, and this new core is available. Unfortunately, it's in a very precarious position.
Oh, don't worry, folks. We'll be right back after this.
I'm fine. Just a little airborne.
That is unfortunately one of the hard things about that core. Now, if you have a ranged weapon, it's actually very easy to destroy it from what I've read. I haven't done it myself. In fact, I've only found that core once, and it was actually the first time I ever fought him back on the PlayStation 4. Ooh, you just took a meteor to the face.
I'm fine. But Nergigante decided just to fly away there. He's a completely optional fight. He only hangs around here for a little bit and then just bucks off.
And I think it's possible to break a piece off him, but I'm not 100% sure. I do not think you can actually get more than the research points for it, though. And we're about to move to the next phase after that little weird clip.
Which is very similar to the first stage before. But now we actually mounted all the guns on the wall instead of beside the wall.
I think it's a more novel concept, a little more terrifying, mind you.
Okay.
I'm doing the speedrun strategy of rolling.
Now, there are ways that you can equip certain gear. There's, I believe it's Bombardier. The Bombardier pieces on your equipment will increase the damage of the cannons and stuff that you fire. So you want to use that in these situations. And if you're playing with other players, you should really have like a dedicated cannoneer, a dedicated part breaker. You should have lots of different options.
I did so much damage to Zorah in the first stage too, I'm breaking parts with minimal effort already. And And this is kind of nice because there's a good amount of people here that are loading up cannons, so you can kind of go down the line. Just loading up 1 or 2, letting the NPCs handle the rest, and just keep moving.
And NPCs can't fire cannons for some strange reason.
Any, we're weak enough. Are you okay?
I wonder why you jumped right there.
It's an interesting shortcut. It'll take you all the way across the map much quicker than running the whole way.
That's actually very smart. When in doubt, jump off cliffs. Don't actually jump off cliffs.
Yeah. Don't take our advice, kids. One interesting thing Zorah will do here, you'll see he'll fist pump the wall. Sometimes he'll headbutt it. During those moments, you can actually leap onto Zorah. If you didn't take out the core that's in the huge funneled area on his back, it will still be active at this point. You can go over and damage it still.
Oh, okay. I've only done this fight enough times to get all the parts I needed for building some nice explosive gear. That's a cool looking design, though.
You get a nice up-close look at him here. Our giant lava turtle. And yes, this fight, he's a bit more aggressive than the first one. He will love breathing fire on cannons if you are hitting him too much with them.
It's such an awkward fall. Like, you fall on the rocks and then scramble down the side of them.
If they just didn't have those rocks there, it'd be a much smoother fall.
Emergency.
Although I don't know if they intended that to be a strategy, but...
Who knows?
Okay.
Now, there's another place to jump, right down here. You can land on the ship. You can actually take a wing drake back up to the top if you need to.
It does take a little bit to get down. It does take a little while to get back up there. So make sure you want to be down here. Otherwise, you'll be spending a good 30 seconds just hanging onto a wing drake.
Zorah still isn't weak enough.
Now, Zorah will do his power-up like he did in the first phase. You'll get the warning where, oh no, he's charging up his energy. At that point, you want to hit him with your one-shot binders, which will completely stop it. Or, you can activate the Dragonator. The Dragonator is located on the helm of the ship. It's that big drill thing we saw, and it does about 2,400 damage-ish.
It also has a long cooldown, unfortunately. So remember, when you use it, it is something that's going to be down probably till the end of the fight.
Yeah, it's pretty much a one use for this fight.
Commander, this is it. The chance we've been waiting for.
All right, this is the last.
And I'm running up to pull the Dragonator,
Where's my Dragonator?
but I whooped him so much I didn't even get the chance to.
Fire!
But that's pretty much what the Dragonator does anyways. It's just launch into him and do a ton of damage.
Cutscene Dragonator OP.
I love having her in this outfit for this cutscene. Especially a part coming up right here. Instead of flicking up her goggles, she flicks up her sunglasses.
This game has really got a ton of active updates.
And I like how changing skins like that doesn't mess up the cutscenes. A few of the Palico ones will look very odd without legs or such, but...
It only took 40 years.
But we did it. We beat the game.
Yeah, game's over, everybody.
Instead of having Zorah blow up on the island, he just took a little cruise out into the ocean and... he's just gonna have a nap out there.
I think our book cover is even different.
I think you're right on that. More epic music.
This is the end of the game.
Grandfather?
So, ready to go home?
It's Wolverine.
Those are some killer sideburns.
Speaking of killer, I did so good and so lucky, I got 2 Zorah Magdaros gems. And a commendation is a special ticket you can use for some nice, unique rewards. Big bucks.
Oh, yeah. Now, a lot of new stuff came in. The Safari locales, we already know about the Palace Safari. But one thing that we did want to talk about, I think is important, is fashion. So you can now change armor pigments. So you can't, if a red suit of armor exists, you can't really make it blue, but you can change a lot of the accented colors. Some of the darker pieces you can actually add a lot of color to or go down the spectrum. So you could be white or black or gray, something silvery. It's a really fun extra thing that you can do now that you've completed the, and I'm going to use quote marks, main game.
Hey,
Even our Poogie has a special outfit there. But we've done a lot of big things here now.
Here we go!
And it opened up the captain for us. Now, the captain is a very weird thing. He can go out and bring you in various materials in exchange for resource points. You can choose which categories you want him to focus on, or he can just do a generic mishmash.
Seen today's wares?
And as we'll see from his selection here, a lot of the non-trade-in items are kind of crap.
Unfortunately.
You might get like a couple good items here, but it's a very big crapshoot. If you're trying to use the captain to get, for example, a Rathalos scale, you might be waiting a very long time for it to show up. It's best to just use him as a source for converting resource points into money. Set everything to trade in items and just leave it on that.
Yeah, you can make a little bit of a profit that way, but I'm just going to straight up say it. Captain's a waste of time. He's not somebody that you should be using that often because, let me put it this way. If you're trying to get items from doing hunts or like, oh man, I need more spider webs and stuff like that, you need to trade in research points. Research points that you're going to be finding doing things like exploration quests where you're going to get those items anyways. So he's really self-defeating, and yeah, the best way to use him is to convert all your research commission points directly into money.
Some of it can be very efficient if you keep an eye on it. He will get some rare items in that are worth 10,000 bucks, and you might be spending only 500 resource points to get it.
I think those are his eggs, right? Like steel egg and gold egg and all that, aren't they?
Yeah, he'll get a couple unique different minerals and such like that.
Should we tell them what's actually happened at this point in time?
No, we'll see what consequences our actions have next time.
Okay.
Well done.
Now, I did that quest in the background here, and we get a new tool that is kind of useless.
If it's what I think it is, yeah, it's pretty bad.
The cleanser booster just helps you get rid of status ailments. It's
good in one situation or two against a very specific enemy that you can carry an item in 10 quantities to just get rid of. You can just nullberry it away. But it's also fairly useful if you're playing with another party and they're unprepared against fighting this monster. But it's very good against miasma as well.
The boosters are always great for multiplayer, but kind of got to know what you're up against.
It's actually a really cool set.
In appearance. In use, not really. I really don't like the skills on it. Very unique appearance, though, on it. Like a scuba diver set of armor is pretty neat. But yeah, Marathon Runner, Critical Eye is good, but you'd have better body pieces at this point.
Mm-hmm. Quick Sheath's not bad.
Mobility we've already had, and Hunger Resistance. The good thing is you can stack that waist piece of mobility, so you can get lots of mobility improvement, but that's the only real good set of it.
Now that's incredible. Any anime fans out there, I'm going to ask you if you're getting any Luffy vibes from One Piece.
Well, we've had that armor set on him for quite a while, so I think it's time, the cat had a little vacation.
Actually, think about a ukulele. I don't know.
That's what I was I think it's a ukulele.
Okay.
If nothing else, we're just going to say it is for cuteness effect.
That's incredible. It actually doesn't have bad stats.
It's a little bit better, actually, than our other armor set was. And it's water elemental, so not too shabby. But because we did so good, and we basically finished the game, we get one more kick-ass reward. The Private Suite.
And I know a lot of people actually like this suite over the private suite. So the nice thing is you can change your living quarters. You can go back, and this one's really fun if you're a collector like Brix here is and have 1,000 pets that he's netted throughout his time. But the best part about it is that you have palicos that play the harp for you.
That's how adored we are right now, is that they have 2 palicos that are full-time hired just to play instruments, even while we're not in our room.
You have to have a good ambiance for your jellyfish.
This room is really beautiful, though, and it has so much storage space for animals. But like we mentioned, actions have consequences, and we'll see what killing Zorah actually did to everything. So I hope you join me next time, and take care all.